Okay, guys, I promise, not that anyone is bothered, this is my last Palworlds video in terms of watching other people's perspectives on what's going on. If you're wondering why I did so many, I really enjoy Palworlds. Palworlds is one of those games that literally the other nights, like a few nights ago, it kept me up to like 4 a.m. and I didn't even realize. I lost track of time and I was like, see, that's what seals a good game for me. And there haven't been many games that have been able to do that in a while. Not to say that there aren't a plethora of indie games and everything like that, but I've been gathering all these perspectives and then I'm going to give my own final one. But I wanted to go around, and that's usually what I do with anything. I want to hear from the people that think it's just straight up BS that the game is being copied. The people who do think it's being copied. I watched a couple YouTubers. I didn't upload their videos because some of it felt a little, I judge things on based on how biased it sounds sometimes. And there was just one not going to mention it here before I accidentally name slip. But today we have Mortdog, who is a developer. I forgot from where, from the little clip I've seen of this video, but I'm going to be watching the full thing here and seeing Mortdog's perspective. I think that's the best thing to do with anything you watch, or at least when it comes to something that's controversial. Get every side and then discern for yourself and be able to come up with your own conclusion. For me, I think I'll either end up making a Palworlds video or I'll just give that conclusion here in this video. So if you found this one, there you go. You know how I feel. So anyways, let's get into the video. As always, shout out to Mortdog. This is Mortdog's video, and always want to give credit back to the, speaker. Y'all know how I do on this channel, so I don't even have to run you through its procedure. Anyways, there you go. That is the credits, and let's get it. 16 minutes. You know I'm gonna go ham because I talk a lot. Headphones on. Let's do this.
People see this video. If you don't know who I am, I'm Mort. I'm a game designer. I've been a game designer for 19 years, 11 and a half at Nintendo, 7 and a half at Riot. So I've been doing this a while. And I've seen a lot of discourse online.
He's been at Nintendo? Okay. I did not remember that from the original thing I seen. Wow. Okay.
Online about Palworld and like what it means, and people being like, "Oh my god, AI and whatever," and freaking out. It's been pretty bad. And what's really disappointing is just
it hasn't been I'll disagree with that. I see where I'm not gonna nitpick everything, but it's been bad and good. It's been bad from people who are just extremely mad, and then the ones weary of what is to come to the future from something like this. And then it's been really good for those who just enjoy it. I've heard a perspective from like, oh no, it's Alex and I've heard it from others too, that a lot of the people that are enjoying the game and just having fun aren't even the ones fighting on Twitter that say the game is good. So that's a really, that makes so much sense to me. I feel for those people. Thank goodness they get to enjoy the game and just stay out of the way. But that just shows you that it's just people, going about their life, enjoying a good game, maybe seeing the trailer, waited for it to release, it dropped, and then enjoyed their time, instead of this big fuss. But then you have the extremists on the other side where it's so good, no imperfections, and then it's like that. So, like the kind of like bad, good, extremely bad, extremely good.
How much misinformation is out there. I'm also, I don't know, I'm personally tired of the news cycle that is, I saw this trending tweet, let me go make a YouTube video about it, even though the trending tweet came from somebody who has no idea what they're talking about. And then that gets perpetuated. And it's just really disappointing.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to take a second to talk about Palworld and what it means for the game industry and its success and things like that. And, maybe some ways you might consider feeling and things like that. So to start off with, one of the things you have to do is, those who don't study history are doomed to repeat it. And I know I'm old, I'm 40, I'm gray-haired, whatever, but a lot of people maybe are younger and maybe this is their first dive into it. So let's talk about...
I'm not going to say how much I feel about that, but I feel like history plays a role in a couple things. There's more because his story, the first part, it's his story. So whose story are we talking about? When it comes to history, you have to incorporate a little bit more. I don't like to just say I've never liked the saying those who do not know their history are doomed to repeat it, because that's not true. I feel like that's a half truth, where there have been cases where people do repeat their history, but just like, you know, how people say it seems like we're coming to a civilization collapse now. Well, that's happened to every civilization before us. So then that means, is there ever going to be a civilization that doesn't collapse? You kind of see what I'm saying? So I was getting it. Because I hear people say that and I laugh, because it's like, no, I think you'll repeat it no matter what, unless you have the willpower to actually enact or be the change you want to see so that history doesn't repeat. But I mean, everything can be argued, two sides of everything.
About making a video game, right?
I wonder how he's going to tie that into this.
Let's say it's the year, I don't know, 1991, and you're going to make a video game, right? And so the first thing you do is you're going to pick like your engine, whether that be like a console or whatever. And you're gonna pick your engine here, and you know, we're gonna call it engine. Look at that big old text, and I'm gonna make it bigger here. Great. That's not big enough. Great.
What I wanted to say to him, saying maybe it's just because he's old, maybe it's just because I'm young.
You got your engine. You got, you know, you're gonna make some characters, some behavior, and then you're gonna make some levels and stuff like that. And you're gonna, like, a game is a bunch of different parts, right? It's like levels, characters, behavior, enemies, stages, systems. You've got a bunch of parts into game design, maybe equipment, maybe items. It could be a bunch of various things, and a game is all of these different parts, right? And so we're just gonna oversimplify it down to all of these different parts here. And again, this might be, you know, level art. It might be level design, and I'm oversimplifying here, but there's going to be a bunch of different parts. Characters, system design. Actually, let's do before we do system design, let's say behaviors. You know,
let's spread it up
enemy,
a little
AI,
bit.
blah blah blah. Well, let's do some systems design, and then maybe we do some like progression and some menus and things like that. There you go. You got a video game. You've worked on all these, right? And all of these are done by different people. Back in the day, maybe a team of like 8 or 10 could put it all together. Nowadays, if you want to go something big, like, I don't know, God of War Ragnarok, it gets a lot nuttier, right? And so all of these might have different employees working on different parts and things like that. Now, again, let's say it's 1991, and you've made a cool new game for the Super Nintendo called Street Fighter 2. You did it. You made Street Fighter 2.
Oh, he's got the tabs
open. The game to the world. People are Hadoukening. It takes the world by storm. Good job. You made a video game. That's great, right? Well, the challenge here is like, cool, you've made a video game. What happens next? Well, your game sells millions, and what happens immediately? Everyone goes, I want some of that money. I'm going to do that too. And they make another fighting game. And for those of you that weren't around in like the 1990s, what happened was you ended up with stuff like this. And this is just an article titled 15 90s Street Fighter 2 ripoffs. Yes, 15. And there were more than 15, right? We got some body blows and some power moves,
body blows,
fighting spirit.
If you want to learn how to edit really well.
So, yeah, I mean, I feel like this part's obvious. Like, for what he's presenting to people, I don't know how people didn't get this.
Clearly,
you know, when there's a really, really good idea that goes ham, there are the people that want a piece of the pie and just try to instantly hop on it and do like, yeah, you know. And again, with everything, you can't necessarily say that's bad or good. It's just a thing that is, you know. And even if, couldn't you just say that Street Fighter, like, okay, let's be honest. Shoot, that was my phone. When I look at Street Fighter, when I look at fighting games, and when I look at games, I've known this forever, right? Right. Essentially, I always used to say Battlefield, right, is just Call of Duty with more realistic destruction and gunplay. That's at least what I thought when I was growing up. Battlefield Bad Company 2 was sick. And it's essentially COD. It's essentially literally COD. There may be a more fast-paced, smaller map, less, of course, people on server type of field, you know, a 6v6 team deathmatch, where then Battlefield's whole selling point and expanse was destruction, explosions, jumping out of helicopters, driving them, tanks, running tanks through buildings, explosions, destruction, and everything. I mean, look at the finals. That's made by a couple veterans from Battlefield. So it's like, yeah, it's weird how people are trying to say like the finals is mixed with Apex. I could say in terms of like I could see things that you could pull from it, but that's what I'm saying. Technically, you can look at everything and say it is everything else. And technically, it is like that. I'm gonna let the game designer speak, but you know what I'm saying? It's not, you can look at it, it's like it's always a double-edged sword for everything. You can look at people taking pieces of things and adding it to their own game, or even taking it completely and just adding some, like, I feel like that's what art is. There's this quote that's been coming up recently, and I'll play the video after this, is, you know, you could be the first to do it, but really what ultimately ends up mattering is who's the best to do it. So, you know, and always give respect to the origins too, you know, like the whole, this person had to walk before you could run sort of thing. Like, you know, the whole, oh, this is the person who, there's like an origin to everything. But then you see the masters that start coming out of that thing. You know, you got CODs and your Battlefields, but then you got your other shooters out there. You know, you have like CSGO, which is completely not COD, but then CSGO, look at Valorant. It's like, man, and people try to say Valorant is CSGO, and it just is not.
Inspired by fighting games. And some of you might be thinking, well, that's terrible. It's actually not. It's okay, right? Being inspired by another game is totally fine.
Yeah.
As long as, and this is the important part, when you're making your own game called Power Spirit, you have to do all this work still. You got to pick your engine, do your level art, do your level design, do your characters. You might go, my character's name is Bayou and Jen, and they shoot Badookins. You know, if you're not, might not be the most imaginative, but you still had to kind of do the work yourself.
You had to do the work yourself, yeah.
And the reason that's okay is because innovation can happen if you're like willing to do it, right? Because something that does matter is, all that matters is the end game is good. If the end game is good, that is what consumers care about, right? And there was one clone from this era that, you know, really stood out. Mortal Kombat, right? Like, now, could you debate that it had differences, but it was clearly inspired by Street Fighter.
Wow, Mortal Kombat ended up being the clone? Wow. Or, you know. But yeah, you see what I'm saying? So it's like literally in 5 minutes in, he could have ended the rest of the video. There's nothing else to talk about.
But they took their own approach. They added their own hook, you know, fatalities and killing and stuff like that. And it was great. It was great, right? Mortal Kombat is a fun game, inspired a series. It was good. Should we be mad that Mortal Kombat copied Street Fighter? Obviously not. Obviously not, right? Like, that's a good thing. Totally fine. You know, I know there's this game called League of Legends that was inspired by, you know, Dota. So it happens, right? This has happened.
League of Legends was inspired by Dota? Wow, I did not know my history. I'm going to completely tell y'all that for that part. Well, but that wouldn't be the whole history repeating itself. Wow, dude. I thought Dota came, but I wasn't in that specific, like that wasn't a part of my specific reality, so I can't really feel bad for knowing that. I just figured that out. If he's spitting facts, I don't know, I haven't confirmed myself, but that is crazy. Wow, dude. Dota's the originator? Holy shit.
All the time in the industry, all the time is that someone releases a game, other people are like, that game was popular, I want the money, and they make their own spin. And what matters is if you make a quality version, players will enjoy it, right? What matters is you did the work and you built the game.
Right.
Now,
right.
Second part here is building a game is a lot of work. It's continued to be a lot of work.
Right. Thank you guys for every game dev out there. Hold up. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Hold on. Let's get close. Let's get close up. Let's get close. Nice and close. Right. Right here. I single-handedly only consider myself someone who really, I guess, understands, like, I guess what I like in a game when I give my whole thing on games, but I have no experience in actual game development. Closest I got is building maps in like Roblox as a kid. And not even only that, that's why I have a very close place in my heart for environmental designs in games. Like I talk about this, the environmental designer and I think dev for the upcoming Flintlock game follows me on Twitter. I absolutely love environmental design. I love like areas and adding like the lore to lands and just vast lands and stuff. And yeah, and the closest I've ever done to like 3D models in a program was when I was in high school and took a college course class, or like it gave you college credits, which was design and drawing for production. So yeah, you guys do an immense amount of work. I've heard someone say that it's amazing that any game actually works. So big ups to all of you.
It's a lot of work.
And and recently I've been watching game developers. Sorry, I keep chiming in here. This is what I do. I've been loving watching little small like indie game developers or people learn code and everything. It's been sick. Don't know if I'm gonna put my me into it. Maybe one day, like maybe when I'm more settled and got to a point in my life where I feel like I could really dedicate the time to that. But yeah,
you have to do this every time you make a new game, because man, imagine like you just shipped God of War, you've got all this stuff, and now you have to start over. That sounds terrible. There are times where you can take shortcuts, and shortcuts are good. Let's talk about this game. I think this is a great game. Ocarina of Time, right?
I never played this.
Such a good game.
Never played
this. It was good. Life is good.
That's crazy, right? I never played it.
Now, they just finished Ocarina of Time. What do? Do they start over, brand new engine? No, of course not. Instead, what they do is they take that engine, they rearrange some pieces. If we go back to our little diagram, maybe we get some new levels, some new level art, but we keep the characters, we keep some of the behaviors, maybe some new systems design, a new progression, keep the same menu, keep the same engine. We shortcutted a lot of the work. And that's a good thing, right? It is. Because we get Majora's Mask. Sweet. We get another game. That's great. Game devs should be taking these shortcuts, right? So that they can make more games to the products and make really cool games. And again, as long as the game is good, no problem. No problem. Elden Ring. Elden Ring's another great example of this, right? Like,
that's what I was thinking of when I was talking about environment.
No, of course not.
No.
Because they had a lot of work and learnings from Bloodborne, and they had a lot of work and learnings from Dark Souls, right? Everything is sort of a level up.
And exactly, I'm glad they did this. I cannot be mad at them. I could never be mad. I could never be mad. I think that's such a smart idea, to just improve upon what you've had. And you almost, it's almost like seeing, like, yes, can that go bad? Yes, but I feel like it's a very low percentage of that happening. You're just working off of your original works to just, it's almost like seeing an artist become what they are as they start growing up. If you're an artist out there, for example, or me as a dance artist, I have seen my skill refine over the years into something I'd never imagined. And I look back at my old videos and I'm like, wow, ooh, whoa. And that's almost like how they would look at Dark Souls. It's like pretty much identical, at least how I see it in my mind, is you look at Dark Souls and it wasn't even that bad. Dark Souls 1 still holds up to this day. And then you look to how it evolved, and let's just not talk about Dark Souls 2, but like Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne, and then Elden Ring, it's like, yeah, man, the style. And even when they did Dark Souls 2, they were just dabbling with a little bit of stuff, but the systems were still kind of the same. So, or pretty much. I haven't played Dark Souls 2 in a while, or 1, so don't quote me. Dark Souls 3 would be the most recent. Well, Elden Ring would, but I didn't beat Elden Ring. I was thinking of doing a series on it, but yeah, man. For
Learning,
sure.
things like that. It's also why you often see a lot of game devs kind of make the same games over and over, like the same type, is because they have all their learnings. They don't have to start this process over every single time, right? Having some of those shortcuts to help speed up game development, that's a good thing, right? Imagine trying to be, trying to jump into a different space. That's hard, right? So anything you can do to speed this up, this is a good thing. Also, for those who don't know, I'm the TFT lead designer, and there was this game called League of Legends, and we took the engine, we took a couple shortcuts because we had some of the character designs done and things like that, and guess what? We made Teamfight Tactics.
Oh, he's
cool.
the team. Wow.
All of this is a good thing,
I
right?
knew he said. I was waiting for him to finish explaining.
Because all that matters at the end of the day is players are looking for good games.
Right.
You got to make good.
At Extreme Experience.
And you got to make good games. I wonder how he's going to tackle the AI and all these allegations.
Good games. Development can be
If he
hard.
talks about it.
And anything you can do to speed up that process to get more good games out there, usually a good thing.
Take it, yeah.
But, and here's where it gets a little tricky.
Okay.
There has been this concept because, again, what matters in the industry for a lot of devs, not all, but a lot, is you go where the money is, right? The second anything is popular, guess what? There are going to be clones, there are going to be copies, like we talked about with the Street Fighter. And again, as long as you're making your own, totally fine. I get it. There's been a common strategy called reskins. A very common thing is like someone will, especially as things have gotten a little easier to develop with engines, where you release a game, say on mobile, like maybe you have a hero collector on mobile. You release it, it doesn't do well. You take it, you keep all the same stuff, the progression, the enemy AI, the behaviors, the menus, the engine, the level art, and like maybe you change a character, and that's it. And then you release it again. And you see if that does well. And you do this over and over and over in the mobile space. It's very common to see if you can be the one to get players' eyes and get that money. Because again, it circumvents 90% of the work to do that. And it's a very common thing. How common is it? Well, if you go to Fiverr, I could pay $55 for somebody to reskin a game for me.
What?
I mean, it's a little gross. It's a little gross if that's all the effort you're willing to put in. But at the end of the day, what does matter is the end product, right? And so you're probably not going to get a high quality end product with a $55 reskin, but there are shortcuts.
Wow.
Now, this is kind of a quick history lesson, so you might be going, what does all of this have to do with Palworld? Okay. Now, everything from this point on is my speculation, okay? As a game developer, as someone who's been doing this for a while, I'm just going off what I see and what I understand and how games are made. And I'm going to show you something. Ooh. Palworld's previous game was called Craftopia.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you guys, but this is the start of Craftopia. And I'm going to make this big for you. And this is how the game starts.
Yep.
You walk up these stairs. Some long stairs. No big deal. And when you reach the top of the stairs, this happens. Okay, what? I don't know why this went back. Here we go. This happens. You turn, you look at the character, you look at a vista. Huh, and the title appears. Huh. This is interesting. That's it's pretty similar. And then oh look, there's a tent over there. Cool. Now, the reason I bring this up is because, again, if we go back to clones and you're doing all the work yourself, that makes sense. And if I said, hey, Mort, go make a game and copy Breath of the Wild, but you're doing it from scratch, to get that exact same vista, that exact same layout, that's actually pretty hard to do from scratch. But if you have the source and you're reskinning, pretty damn easy. And what I'll say is that looked pretty damn easy. So that's a little gross, you know? And so the fact that they can basically go, hey, thank you, Nintendo or whoever for this. This is mine now, and I'm going to make some stuff on top of it. That's a little weird. But here's the important thing. What I will say is, even if they did that, right? Let's say I'm right for a second, and they're like, yoink, this is mine now. The stuff they did on top of it is really good. It's really, really good, right? A game where you can run around and pick up a Firefox and shoot it as a flamethrower. It's fun. The fact that you can take your pals and like chop them up and capture humans and Pokeballs, it's fun. Palworld is a good game. The end result is a great game. It is. It's good.
Okay, so scummy practices from speculation, from his part, speculating. Scummy practice if they have the source, but then a good product overall because they did add their own stuff on top. I kind of wish right here he had shown the Breath of the Wild intro. Now, if we're talking source code, I don't think it would have mattered because he's saying that it's a reskin of it. But if it's a reskin, doesn't the reskin mean like, okay, when I hear reskin, my mind automatically goes to you're putting skin over something skinned already. So literally for every single frame, it's the same. But I'm just going to make the safe assumption that Crafttopia's intro is not exactly Breath of the Wild, so they didn't get like maybe backlash, but is it Breath of the Wild? Like, I have to look up a video. I wish he kind of put it side to side. Oh my gosh, guys, I just looked it up. Wow. That shit was like 1 for 1. When you go and look it up, I don't know about Nintendo and adding stuff into your videos, because I've heard people say Nintendo, they come for you, man, and all of that stuff. So I just want to be careful what I show. I'm not going to show the uploaded video, but just go look up the intro to Breath of the Wild. Wow. Literally the only difference is your created character, landscape, and it's a little dainty little tent and whatever. But in Breath of the Wild, it's a castle and kind of more of a more cinematic, refined look. And Craftopia feels like the Target brand.
So if anyone's like, oh, is Palworld a bad game? No, it's really good. All the work they did in this section here, thumbs up. Just grade A, awesome work. All I'm saying is this part here, pretty sketch. And here's the crazy thing. Let's say again, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. But let's say I'm right.
Okay.
What happens is we see Palworld's success. And again, game devs go where the money is. This will become
the action. Oh, I already picked up what he was putting down. So what, mofos are going to start stealing source code now? Or like, well, wait, but like, how did they get their hands on the source code? Did someone in Nintendo leave and work for Palworld? Thought the project was cool and said, hey, I have some of the source code. Wouldn't that be illegal, low-key? Or if you had a high up position? I wonder. Also, one thing that always came to mind, right, is I heard this from everyone saying that anytime there's a clone game from a Nintendo, whether it was Pokemon or anything, they would be on it, man. You could be a guy in your studio apartment that just created a whole Pokemon fan game, and you would be struck down come midnight the moment you post it. You could post it at 11 p.m. and Nintendo took you down an hour later. That's how crazy they make this sound. I don't know if it's that dramatic, but if it is, how did Palworlds not go down? If he is speculating that they have the source code, How did Palworlds not drop on launch? That's just, I don't know. So I like what he's speculating though. That would be insane. And even where he's about to go here, that would be insane.
Will become the norm.
That would become the norm.
This will become, hey, you know what the easiest way to make games is? It's don't do all this. It's find something else, take its section, and add a little on top. And that's what we're going to get a lot of. And I know there's a certain...
So basically passion is dying, which I've said this too. I'd rather see new IPs, people being passionate, create it, because the money will come for a passion project, I feel. And I could be wrong, but that's the thing about reality. I feel like it's all malleable, if that's the correct way to say it. Kind of Neo and the whole kid bend the spoon thing. I truly think with the right amount of delusion and willpower, you can make a game. Then you can take a little pieces from here and there, but is your own passion that just comes in and breaks the industry. You know, like, because Baldur's Gate had they did a lot, man. And again, a lot of people were saying that set a bar. There was everything about Baldur's Gate. Remember that. I didn't even make too many videos about Baldur's Gate. I literally probably didn't say anything. I heard I probably mentioned I heard all the rage, which that would have been a time to make Baldur's Gate videos. But in Baldur's Gate, you've seen it. Like, I just can't explain it. You got to feel it. And yeah, I would hope that this wouldn't become the norm for the sake of, I don't know, too many clones of games. Like, I hear people talk about it. There are survival games that drop all the time. Like, survival games are all over the place. I don't know. Yeah, personally, I can see. Let's see what he says.
Bald streamer that had some really strong feelings about it. But I also know this bald streamer really didn't like back in the day where there was a $25 horse. And that $25 horse kind of snowballed into some pretty interesting parts of our industry, didn't it?
A bald streamer?
I'm just saying, be really careful when you're like, this is what I want, because the snowball might not be the best thing. If we're going to reward people just going, yoink, I don't know. That scares the crap out of me.
Yoinky sploinky.
That scares the crap out of me. So that's it. And the thing is, I know there's one other component to this, which everyone's going to talk about, which is AI, right? Like using AI to cheat some of this. And the reality is AI is a tool. AI is a tool that can be used poorly and it can be used well. There are going to be ways to do it right, ways to do it wrong. But really, all of it comes back to, if you take somebody else's work, that's where it gets a little gross, right? Because the people who did that work are incentivized to do that work for the rewards. If there are no longer rewards, you're not really incentivized to do this anymore. And so what you could end up with is a lot less interesting games in the future.
Yes, exactly.
That's kind of my quick spiel. But yeah, as far as evidence goes, there are things like this that really bother me here. Noise blast here for a second, but bear with me. Okay. Let me rewind a second.
Yeah.
Of course it's gone. Anyway, the sound when you find a new area is basically the same sound as you find a new area here. It's like the exact same sound. And again, stuff like that, really scary. So there you go. I don't know. Making games, cool. Inspired by other games, cool. But in my opinion, you got to do the work yourself. That's the important part to me.
Right.
And TLDR, Palworld's a pretty good game, but I don't know, man. So there you go.
I mean, dude. I like his side of it and his perspective, and I'm just like I'm gonna slide down the comments. See, this is why I say you have to avoid comment sections. People are saying pretty contradictory in the end, my friend. But topics like this are never easy. And also when things move the way they do, right? When handling something that's as controversial as this, or maybe things that have like a lot of nuance to a conversation, it's not so easy to have a firm stance on either side. That's why I am off the stance that it is a good game. It is fun. It'll keep you invested, and that's it. Because it's like I'm way out of my league to know whether source code, like this dude is low key. Oh, let me take a drink. Forgive me right there. I misspoke. He is high key qualified to talk about this stuff just based on all the work he's done. I mean, come on, man. Valorant, Dota, all this, dude, crazy. Nintendo, 11 years. So what I want to say is I really appreciate someone like him coming out and giving his perspective, because what he said about misinformation is so true. And I don't know why the comments, this is why I've said I would literally leave my own comment section alone too. It's not been bad from you guys. It's mostly clean, but it's just that 1 and 2 negative comments. I'm like, bro. And sometimes, but this is a mixed subject. It really is. There are a lot of people torn different ways, blah, blah, blah. And what I'm going to say is how he wrapped it up is so true. The ending was not contradictory to me. It's very true. If people are just going to yoink like somebody's work, remember, this part of the video was speculation. If they're going to just yoink somebody's work and then just put good things on top of it, well then damn, man, it's disingenuous and it is disgusting. Did it work? Yes. And that's all you got to say at the end of the day. Like, damn, like hopefully it becomes an environment where people at least acknowledge that if it ever came out that it was completely copied, like they just took that, like copied. But then that's where I'm trying to understand. Is that stolen? Did they pay for the code? How did they get the code? I'm so lost. How did they get this? How did they get this from Nintendo? Like, because, okay, right, I don't want to go all conspiracy theory, but then I start to think about this. When games that make so much of like a shake in the collective consciousness, so it's weird that a game that was everyone's classifying as Pokemon with guns was able to do this and not be knocked, its head just cut off, the head cut off the snake by Nintendo. What? That doesn't make any sense to me. So did someone at Nintendo give them the source code? Did they emulate it? How did they get this? Like, I'm asking a genuine question because it's hard for me to even ride alongside that speculation, because it's like, well then, is there something deeper at play? Almost like that sort of thing where it's like, I don't want to say Coca-Cola and Pepsi, but it's like they're both acidy ass carbonated drinks that look like black tar. So Pokemon and Palworlds is literally collector games like Coca, because some people I hear say Coca-Cola, it tastes a little bit better, but Palworlds is essentially Coca-Cola because it has that slightly better taste with the game features that's in the game. Arc, Elden Ring, blah, blah, blah. And then capturing pals, giving them guns, butchering them. And then Pokemon is like catching Pokemon, exploring, blah, 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 and all that. But essentially they're both underneath acidy carbonated drinks. And it almost seems like somebody's talking, because how did they get that? I really want to know. How would that be possible? And that would lead me to believe, okay, now things have gotten a little bit more interesting. Because truthfully, unless I missed it, I'd have to go back and watch, because this is just one watch through with y'all. Did he explain how they would have gotten that? I just don't know, because even when he explained the Breath of the Wild part, I didn't get it. They just basically watched the work that, like, because I think he even said this. Hang on. Okay, essentially doing the work yourself to copy a scene in the game. So how in Craftopia they started it on the stairs and the come out in the vista and the valleys, and then in Breath of the Wild it was that, and they took from Breath of the Wild. Essentially, if you recreated that from scratch and made it in Craftopia without having the source, that would be impressive, though. That would. I think he said this. I tried to find it real quick, but I don't want this video to be too long. But so it's a hard conversation on that. But that's where I'm with the whole AI and everything. Again, yeah, AI is a tool. There's just like, again, from Oh No, It's Alex's video, I seen someone else bring it up. Like, I don't know if Rev says Desu did, but that you have to clarify on Steam according to Steam's rules, or like the little laws, whatever, the what do we call them, you have to comply with Steam's rules to say if your game has any AI stuff to it. I didn't look into that myself, but Palworld has 100% no AI apparently. I don't know though. But because you can, being deceptive, though I don't want to claim that about a company. You could, if you just got those legends on your development team, they could probably hide the AI very well. But who knows, And then, yeah, when it comes to just the art and I don't know, that's just a whole nother thing. But what he was touching on, the whole source of the game, how do you get your hands on that? Because wouldn't that, if you used it and they had a case, then we're about to see Palworlds disappear, right? If that is true. So that's definitely a big puff up your chest, big ball speculation, man. If it were to come out that was true, whoo, that'd be nuts. And yeah, that'd blow my mind. I don't know, man. That's crazy. But I definitely like what he said about the misinformation and everything off of tweets and stuff, man. I heard people are literally forging fake videos and things of stuff and fake information and then like exposing themselves right around it's like always what I say is I go back to the humanity thing at the end of the day. I always go deeper than it being about a game. I go look at literally the types of people that will go through lengths to try to ruin something just because they don't like it, or it's just crazy, man. It just shows you how I feel like you should adapt certain things to your life and move accordingly to live a fulfilling and whatever's in your view of a peaceful life. Even if Palworlds was using AI and all this, I'm not going to get so incredibly freaking turned over it that I got to go online and forge things and even some of the people who were on Palworld sides who grabbed a tweet and then make a video of it. He is right. There are definitely some who did it and I enjoyed their videos. So, it's just, I see the two sides of everything. But I really think if you're going out of your way to like make so many allegations and accuse the game and try to bring it to justice for whatever reason, maybe your own purpose of Pokemon needs to be protected or whatever, sometimes it just exposes what the deeper part of humans or just people that go to this length to do these types of things. Like, it'd really be crazy if it comes out and Nintendo's like, nah, they made everything from scratch, blah, blah, blah. That'd be a real slap in the face to people like this. And then you just fought an imaginary battle basically against your own you, basically. And then you got clowned by a bunch of people that were trying to tell you, look at it from a objective standpoint. There's people who made videos that didn't. They were biased, this, that, But I think from the videos I've watched, at least Oh No, It's Alex, he felt pretty in the middle, but still for Palworlds. Rev says Desu felt Palworlds. And I'll say a name, Skill Up. From what I felt from the video, he was on the other side. He was just like, no, this is bad. Mortdog felt in the middle, but still like, from the sense that I was getting, is not rocking with Palworlds. At least, like, yes, it's a good game, but the speculation felt from a place could completely just be like objective, but just from how I'm perceiving it, he's not really rocking with it. And I don't blame him. It has annoyed me my entire life when it has, like, I'm not saying I get turned over it, where I see like in the YouTube space nowadays where there's not a lot of originators, or even if like you want to do something like I do where it's like commentary or reactions, add your own twist. I see so many copies, and it's just like, I don't know, man. That's why I feel so different, because it's just like, I do me, man. I really don't care about the comments, and it'll either pay off or not pay off one day. But you know, I feel like, yeah, and then you also see where people will see you upload a video, and either coincidence or synchronicity. My teacher taught me to look for threes, where you see people who all react to the same video that drops a day apart of each other. And you could see videos like that from me, but completely unintentional. So it's like, yeah, I don't know, man. There's this integrity part behind true art and creating and blah, blah, blah. But again, you can make the argument that, you know, taking somebody's work and doing it goes back to what I said earlier. You don't got to be the first to do it. You just got to be the best. And ultimately, it seems like Palworld is coming out on top. Doesn't make it right, but right and wrong is truly an illusion. Everyone has different definitions of what's right and what's wrong. So I'll end the video on that. Love you guys. See you on the next one. Much love, Moonlight. Peace. Oh, Karl Marx. Oh, you're still here. Well, excuse me. I mean, if you're still here, you already know what's coming. Why don't you consider subscribing to the channel? So dumb. Thank you guys for watching and making it all the way here. I know my videos can be chaotic at times, and sometimes they don't even make any sense. And that's exactly why I love them and feel unique on YouTube. Anyways, your support is much appreciated. Definitely consider subscribing to the channel and checking out any of my other vids if you would like to. If this is the last time we're seeing each other, well, thank you for checking me out anyways. Remember to take care of yourself and be authentic out there in the organic world. Love you guys. Much love, Moonlight, actually. Peace out.